All right, welcome everyone to our, I guess it's our fifth, maybe sixth, fifth session of the Tech Peer Group. Today's topic or tonight's topic is going to be on Google. Mostly, I want to start it out with what, in general, Google Workspace is, and then get down to Google Drive, and then talk about Google Docs, Sheets, where everything falls into place. We've talked about Sheets before on another session. I think it was the second, probably second or third, if you wanted to go take a look at it. Hopefully you've all gotten the link on where our recordings are. And if not, then shoot me a message in the chat and I'll make sure you get it. But all of these sessions have been recorded and you can go back and look at them as you need them. Or if you need help sleeping, you can use that too. I won't be offended. Anyway, I am not the Google expert. I do have things I do and some things I don't do. So feel free to chime in anytime you have further information on the topic I have me on. And I'm more than happy to share my screen or let you share your screen as well. This is a group session, so I hope you feel comfortable piping in and saying, hey, that's not what I know, or I know more about that, and let me tell you a bit about something I encountered with that. So with that, first, before I go on, I just wanted to mention next session is June, let's see, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, I believe, whatever Tuesday is. Oh, good question, Nancy. Okay, thanks for the reminder. So our next session is Tuesday, June 7th, I think. If I've got it wrong, it's a day or two before or after that, the date. And what I wanted to do, if we don't get to it here, is I wanted to focus first on what other topics we want to go over, because I think we are going to continue this Tech Peer Group next year. And I want to gather some thoughts and gather some ideas again. And I'm not quite sure what our next topic will be, but if you have suggestions for that as well, or if it's short, we can actually make that part of next session too. So before we continue, I want to introduce Nancy Turner. She's a member of the communications team, and she is moving on to bigger and brighter things, or actually taking a break. I'm not sure which, but she's leaving the communications team. But I thought this would be a great opportunity for her to explain a little bit about what she's been doing and the work she's been doing on the communications team, and see if it inspires any of you to is something you're familiar with or you'd want to know more about. And I wanted her to give an explanation about what she does currently for the communications team. All right, Nancy, can you let us know what your duties are currently?
Okay. Thanks, Tracy. Hi, everybody. I'm Nancy Turner. I am one-winged right now. So can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Managed to break a pinky. I have been on the communications team since I met Sandy Gabe at National Convention. I think that was in 2016 in Washington, D.C. And I, at that time, was the Facebook administrator for the Hayward Castro Valley branch, and they were looking for somebody to do some work on the AUW California Facebook page. So that's why I went on ComCom, was to help at least maybe increase our following, increase the likes. And so I've done that. I'm still the administrator. I'm one of a few that can make changes to the AUW Facebook page. I'm also an administrator on our AUW California. This is all California. AUW California Facebook, AUW California Instagram. I also post to our LinkedIn account. So we want people that are familiar with all of those platforms. I am part of the social media kind of subcommittee of the communications committee. And I meet weekly with the chair of that committee, plus AUW California has an intern that helps us with our social media. So that's about half an hour, 45 minutes a week. The communications committee meets once a month for about, what, 2 hours, Tracy?
Yeah, we try to get it to 1.5, but
One and a
sometimes
half. Yeah, two would be max. Um,
2 fun hours, Nancy.
what?
2 fun hours.
2
Oh,
fun
yeah,
hours.
yeah.
They
Don't
are
forget the
fun.
Yeah.
Tom is, I am only stepping down because I have been doing this for 7 years and I believe in rotation of leadership. And I also believe in taking a break. So I have loved being on this committee. I've done convention committee before. I've done membership. I've done program. If you have not served on a state committee, I highly recommend it. We're also looking for somebody who knows about Canva. I learned about that in this position. I really enjoy that. If you're familiar with Hootsuite, that would really help. That's the platform that we use to post and to schedule our posts. So let's see now. I made some notes so that I would remember. I also helped create the posts and the stories with the committee, and then all of those are vetted by the editors on our communications committee. So we kind of we write what we want and then we run it through the communications committee. So this is a group effort so that our posts and what we put out, it shares California, ADUW California's message. And it's really important. Also, one of the things that I do is that I'll find other stories from our feeds from organizations that we have liked or followed. But we are not partisan, and it's very important to make sure that when we're choosing posts to post to share on our feeds, that they really match our mission and our vision and what we stand for. So it's good to it's a fun way to be, and it's a great way to do outreach. We've increased our following, and I would love to see somebody who would be excited about helping us move on. Is that it, Tracy? I don't know.
Yeah, that's very good. And I wanted to mention, I love your cast.
Oh,
I think
thank
it's
you.
nice and springy, as long as I wish it would fit the weather, or the weather would fit it, but not yet.
We had hail today.
Oh my gosh.
We had a hailstorm in the middle. I live just south of Modesto, which is out in the Central Valley Desert. And it
It's not
stopped
very
all the
desert-like.
construction in our backyard for a little while and
Yeah.
started
No,
filling up the pond they were.
Yeah, what it wasn't meant to be a pond, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that it is a group effort, that don't feel, like you have to walk in and know every single thing. Of course, there's some transition and Nancy, I'll speak for her. She's going to be leaving us June 30th officially. And so there is like 2 months here. So if anybody was interested in knowing more, I'm hoping Nancy will allow you to reach out and have a one-on-one chat. If you want to put your contact info in the chat, that would be good. And perhaps even help you along a little bit and show you a little bit about what she does. It shouldn't be scary. It's actually fun. It's a good group to be part of. We do a lot of work, but I think, as you heard Nancy say, we do learn a lot too along the way. So it's a place where you can learn as well. So anyway, thank you for your time, Nancy. Any questions for Nancy before either I let her go or she stays for the presentation? Okay, well, thank you very much, Nancy. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I highly recommend it. This is an awesome committee to be on because
well, yes, and I thank you for everything you've done. I mean, you were on it before I even became part of it. So
but it's carried, it's rolled on through all of the different members that have come and have gone. Communications committee has got a pretty good basis, and Dawn's doing a great job this year. But I highly recommend it if you're looking for a state position. This is a great place to serve.
Okay. All right, Dawn, I see you're on. Do you have anything more to add to that and before we move on? Any little plug?
No, I will be serving as the chair of that committee again next year. So I second everything that Nancy said, and I want to thank her for. In fact, I feel like I want to sign up for her job instead of mine because it sounded so much better than mine. But thanks, Nancy, for doing that, for explaining so well and being so enthusiastic about the work that we do. So thank you. I turn it back to you, Tracy.
Right. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about, as I stated before, for those of you who just joined us, is I wanted to give an overview. I know we did a deep dive into Google Sheets, and this was a while ago. I think our second session, if I'm not mistaken. And I wanted to back up from that and say, okay, here's what Google Sheets is part of. And we hear about Google Docs, we hear about Google Sheets, and a lot of us don't know everything that Google Suite has to offer. So I was just going to give you an overview and then do a little bit of a deeper dive into Google Docs, because that's the one I think that in Sheets, which is similar to Excel, and Google Docs, which is similar to Word, is what most of us use most of the time. So let me, without further ado, I found a site that's Google that gives us an overview, and I want to share my screen and start there. So I can give you guys a little visual and to let you know that this is out here. It's a Google Workspace Learning Center. And I thought that was a really helpful thing that I found, and I want to share it with you. It is all I did. You can actually go into your browser and search for it. It's called Google Workspace Learning Center. And what I did is I looked at the Get Started menu, and it talked about if you're switching from something else, how to set things up, and the dashboard for Google Workspace. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then I spent most of my time on Learn by Product. Okay. And what the screen I'm showing here is all products screen. So I want to start here. Most people, as far as I know, I don't usually talk about Google Workspace in particular. I don't mention it, but everything kind of falls within that umbrella. So when you Google Workspace is kind of the house that houses all these different applications. Some of which you've heard of and some of which you may have not heard of. We have Google or Gmail, which is a Google product, is the email system that is anything with a gmail.com address. Calendar, a lot of people use calendars, Google Calendar. Chat, I don't use some of these like chat and Meet and Voice and contacts and groups. I'll point out the ones that I use, and then you guys can chime in if you use others a lot. Docs, which is we're going to go over, which is the word processing tool. Sheets, which is the Excel equivalent. Slides, which is PowerPoint equivalent. Forms is used quite often for surveys and quizzes, like it says. It's a simple tool to create a questionnaire. And I don't plan on going into that here, but maybe something we can do later. The website builder I've never looked at, and the rest of these I've never looked at myself. The other thing I wanted to go over today is Drive, Google Drive, because in my world, that's kind of where I start when I don't know where something exists. Somebody says, oh, it's out on our Google Drive. That's where I go, and I'll show you how I quickly find what I'm looking for there. And the rest of these I don't use. So that's the general suite of products. And I'm going to dive deep. Unless you have questions on this list or something that's maybe missing or something you'd like to get further into, go ahead and shout it out now, and I'll make a note of it. But what I'm planning to do is go into Google Drive at this point.
Okay, so I have a stupid question. So when you say Google Workspace, you mean all of these together?
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
so not only these tools which were on top, like Gmail, Calendar, etc., but including the like the Drive and all of those.
Yes. And again, I don't reference on my Google Workspace. When I'm at work or whatever, I just talk about Google Docs, or usually I start at the Google Drive level, and I'll say, okay, it's out on the Drive. You'll hear people say it's out on Google Drive. I rarely hear people talk about it being, Google Workspace in particular. I don't hear that terminology very much.
No, but when we pay, Tracy, when we pay, like people have an account, they're paying some number of dollars every month. But like most of these tools are available free. So what are we paying for?
I don't pay for anything Google
Yeah,
personally.
so, but like say, like say some branches which are using Workspace pay for it. We at AEW California pay for Google Workspace. So
Yes, we do pay $6 a month for that.
for the branch, and then, at the state level, it's more like 28 or something, but it's,
Yeah, that's what I'll need more help with because I don't pay. So do you know, Randa, what your branch pays for?
What we use it for, I don't know what else there is to use it for, but what we use it
Mhm.
for is the various groups that you can actually use an alias to go back and forth. So you aren't
Okay,
emailing to a person, you're emailing to like,
group,
yeah,
Google Group. Okay, which we use a lot at the state level. We use Google at the board level. Julia can attest to that. So this right here, team emails and security lists. So a Google Group is something that I don't personally do, but I use. I'm a user of it. So for example, I am a secretary at the AEW California level. So well, that's not a good example. Actually, all of us are part of the tech peer group, and Julica maintains the group, the team email, if you will. It's a list of our emails, our personal emails, and it's referenced by, sorry, I don't know the full name, but it's the tech peer group email, so that she doesn't have to enter every email address to reach all of us. So I don't, maybe that's something that Julica can talk about at some point, but I'm not gonna go over that today, but you're right. I'm not sure if that costs anything. Not sure what we can search on that later if we have time. So apparently there are sounds like there are some tools here that require some cost. I would imagine it has to do with storage space, perhaps.
Yeah.
For the most part. Okay. All right, anything else at this point? Okay, so I'm going to stick here for a second and I'm going to go down and say, okay, I want to know more about Google Drive. Okay, so Google Drive, I'm going to do the Drive cheat sheets. Well, that's not the one I was looking for. What I was looking for, I thought it was, let's see. That one. Okay, so I'm going to go add files and folders to Drive. Okay, what Google Drive is a storage area, if you will. It's like on your computer, you have like a Windows Explorer. Like I use that quite a bit. I use this, if this is familiar to you, and that's where all my files are on my computer, in the downloads folder, on my desktop, and so forth. I liken it to Google Drive, which also has an organization similar to that, which has folders that you can define, and you can store files there. But the cool part about Google Drive is that you can share them easily with people. The storage for Google Drive is out on the cloud, which means it's not on your computer. It's out on the cloud. It's available to you to share to others. You can limit it to certain people, or you can actually open it up to everybody. It's up to you based on the content. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go over to Google Drive if I can get this out of the way. Drag this over to the side or down. Okay. I'm going to go over to, this is my Google Drive. And if we look over here, it's my account. This is my Google account. It happens to be my Google email address, tracylclark62@gmail.com. And once I established that Gmail account, I had access to utilize all the tools that I just showed you. If you want to see the way I got here is I go a funky way. Maybe other people have their ways of going. But if I wanted to go and search for a file and I didn't have anything up here, I would go like this. It's an empty URL. And I go, okay, I want to go to Google to Google Drive, and I want to find a file that I'm looking for, I would first go to Gmail. That's kind of what I do. I search for Gmail. I notice it has workspace here. And I go down to Gmail. And it pops up with my latest, the last one I use, which is my Gmail address. If I want to switch to another one, because I have various accounts, I just click on the icon over here. Sometimes it's a photo if you put one assigned to your Gmail account. And I have Tustin Young Marines. I have some other accounts here too. I can go to that one real quick. And it'll just switch me over to the Gmail related to the Tustin Young Marines that I'm affiliated with. So you can switch accounts very easily. They're Gmail accounts associated with separate Gmail accounts. And they all have, I'll go back to my main one. And if you notice the Google Apps icon over here on the right, it'll list all the things that we saw and more on the list under Google Workspace. So when I go there, I see Gmail, which we're already at. There's contacts if I have done that, but I'll go, okay, I want to go to Drive because there's a file I'm looking for, or I want to find something on the Google Drive because somebody told me it's there. Notice I'm not going to any particular Gmail account at this point, but I want to go to the drive associated with that account. There's Calendar as well and some others, but I'm going to go to Google Drive. Okay, so this is the Google Drive, and over on the left here, I was doing a lot of searching. Okay, on the left here, there's a new button. I'll talk about that in a sec. There's My Drive, which is everything that I have uploaded to this drive. I may or may not have shared it with other people. Let's see what the dropdown says. These are different folders that I've created. Some I've created, some have been default. Like, I think those are all mine, actually. Computers. Oh, it's under here, just my computer. Shared with me. These are folders that are shared with me. So I didn't create them, I didn't upload them, but let's say the state has, and I'll show you some files that are not mine that have been shared with me, and I'm able to look at them at minimum, and I may be able to edit them as well. What I've done most recently, what I've particularly pointed out and starred that I want to have access to quicker, obviously trash, and then this tells me how much storage I have left under my account, my Drive account. And if you notice here, it has the latest things I've looked at. And what I've edited, or in this case, Dawn edited this particular document after I have or looked at it. I edited this today, and so on. It has a lot of folders. It has files. It has, if it says W, like this one here, my resume, that's still in a Word format, but it's been uploaded to Google Docs and hasn't been switched to a Google Doc format. That I'll get into a little bit more detail with that when we talk about Google Docs. This right here is a PDF. It'll save those as well. This is a JPEG, which is a picture. Here's my photo, etc. So when I come in here and I have no idea, someone said, hey, I uploaded the, I'll just, since I saw it there, the success plan for our state. We have a success plan. And I know parts of the name of it. So I'll say, okay, I can actually search for the type of document. I can go into an advanced search. I rarely, if ever, do that. What I have found that works best for me is I'll say, okay, I know it has the year in it. So I put up here what I think I know. It'll start popping things up that it might think I want. And I know there's something called success plan in the name. So I'm going to search for that, and it's going to bring up everything that is related to the success plan. And so if I find what I'm looking for here, which this is what I was looking for, but let's say I didn't. And here's another version, and I'm looking for a folder. I can actually go to the success plan here, but let's say I didn't find it. And I'll say, well, maybe it's not called success plan. I'm going to look for all the folders that are in here that are shared with me and also under my drive that start with that year, because that happens to be the naming convention that we're using for the state. If I look there, I'll see this is the main folder for our state documents. And then there's other folders that start with that name. There's some Tech Trek information and so on. Now, if you notice, there's two here. I'm kind of curious why there's multiple of the same. I think it's the same folder. It's just that they've been modified in different dates by
They're in
different people.
Locations.
Yeah. Oh, different locations. You're right. So here, program, board minutes and motions, and master branch activity of the year. Okay. So this folder name is various places. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you're looking for a certain thing like a master list, and over here, leadership meeting materials, this is the one I would probably be looking for. I'm not working on master branch activity of the year, so I wouldn't be looking for anything in this folder. So this is the way I find everything. Now I want to stop here, and I don't usually have difficulty finding anything. And I know that's a big thing for people. I've heard that quite often, like I can't find anything. Is there any other way that people on this call look for things other than what I've just done? If somebody says, hey, I've got something out here in Google Drive, is there another way that people go to find what they're looking for?
This is Sandy Hansen.
Mhm.
And I just use that search box up there and use a term that I know is going to be in whatever I'm looking for. I've got an archive for my branch, and in the archive are pictures of everybody. So if I want a picture of Mary Smith, I just put Mary Smith up there, and everything, because I have identified her in her pictures. Every picture that's got her comes up, and then I can go through and find which one I want.
Right. Okay. Same with
Yeah.
me.
Because it's Google. It's using your Google technology for searching.
Right. So you don't have to do very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Tracy,
Okay.
this is Paula Ocampo. Can you
Uh-huh.
search by date or the most recent?
I'm sure you can. Let's see what okay. Wait, close this or move it over. Okay. Looks like has the words location, date modified. So if you're looking for the last time it was edited, date modified, it does let you search for who you shared with, any follow-ups if you use tags or something. A follow-up tag has the words is what I'm using, who the owner is. We don't always know who the owner is. So that's a little sketchy unless that's all you have. So these are the extra criteria you can use. Julika, question.
No, actually, I was going to respond to your question about how we find things.
Okay.
And for me, because I'm in the Google workspace every day, all day, I've sort of learned what the main folders are, what comes before it and what comes after it. So like you were looking at the leadership materials.
Let me stop sharing and allow you to share if that's going to help.
I'd have to bring it up though.
Oh, okay.
I can
want me to
actually
try?
guide you, you know,
Okay.
like you're talking about the 2022, 23. Many folders have that because under,
Yes.
you know, like whatever, they're going to have a 2023 and so forth, all the dates. So there's a couple of main folders that we use in the office. One of them is the leadership materials. The other is the master folder. And if I click on one of those, so if you go down on the right, you'll find the leadership materials. I think you were there a little while ago.
Right
There you
here.
go, that one, click on that. Okay. So before that is the master folder, and I know kind of basically what some of the things are in that folder. And I think usually you can go up one.
Yeah, it popped up there. I was
Yeah.
gonna show that too.
Yeah.
And I saw it. That's
Hmm.
interesting. It didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, because I've
So-
got that selected.
So
Okay.
there you go. So what I'm saying is you can use those I use them as kind of anchor points. And I'll go before or after them because I have a general idea of what is in there. So like you
Yeah,
can see, the leadership meeting materials is underneath the California master. And if I go into the leadership meeting materials, I can find the webinar materials because I know they come after. So it's just a more kind of a shorthand way of navigating through massive amounts of material.
Mhm. Yeah, if you know that your tree, if you will, that helps even further. And once you get familiar with how things are organized, or if you've done it yourself, then you probably know how it's organized. You can pop up and down this chain and find your way. AEW California happen to use this master folder. And I sometimes don't remember what that's called. Although it's master, I'll go, what's the name of that? So if you don't remember names or you're not in there enough, like every day, like Julica, just doing the search has worked for me every single time so far. But yeah, you can also do this. Say, okay, I know it starts in the master, and then you can look down and say, oh yeah, it's this one. That's where we keep the meeting materials for the leadership team meetings. I go here because I'm secretary. I go to board meeting and minutes and motions. I sometimes forget what that's called. And so if I put up their 2022, 2023 board minutes, then I end up finding this folder as well as other documents.
Tracy,
Yes.
two things. Of course, everything you're going into has already been protected so that only certain people can get into that. So that's an important thing
Yes.
to realize. But also, when you have a folder that you use often and so forth, and you can't remember, you can color code it by changing, just go on the right side and make mine red. And then I can find it.
Cardinal. I think I'll make it cardinal. Right. And or I could star it, I guess. I'm not sure if I can star a folder, but let's see. Well. Oh,
That means
that
you
tells
just
me
haven't
which ones
started it.
have. Okay, let's go back. If I go here and I star it, add to start. So then now it should show up in my starred list.
Yeah.
That's another way. I do that in my email, my regular email, not even Gmail, but I haven't done that here. So that's another good tidbit. So getting into sharing. Oh, do we have any other questions regarding the organization of this? I'm going to get into what things you can see here and what things will not show up based on how it's been shared with you. Do you see any other questions in the any hands raised? I don't.
Nobody's
Okay.
at the top, so.
There are some questions in the chat.
Okay, let's see. Go here and see. Okay. Thank you, Allie. If we get there tonight, we'll go there, but Allie has volunteered to show us how to make rosters from Excel. If we get there tonight, good. If not, then we'll do that next session if you're available. Okay. Sandy would like to know how to move material from Google Drive on Google account A to Google account B. And we'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, you may also pay to increase your cloud space. Yes, I've done that myself. So that's one thing that is charged is if you get a default amount of storage. In this case, I have bought storage because I needed more. I was housing some bigger files. So you're able to buy storage. It's a nominal fee, but it is a monthly fee. I believe, unless I'm confusing it with something else.
99 cents.
I think storage is an annual fee.
Yeah. Oh, is
Because
it
we
annual?
have additional storage, but the monthly charge says Google Workspace.
Okay.
For an
Yeah, can you-
individual, it's 99 cents.
Is that, Sandy, is that per month or is that?
Per month, yeah.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
just do PayPal and it comes automatic and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
You know, I know on my phone, I get charged monthly. I'm not sure if I get charged monthly for that. Maybe you choose when you buy the storage. We can actually pretend.
Probably.
Maybe you choose, yeah. If you can use a different email address, AOL or charter or whatever.com than Gmail. And yes, you can, but what I will tell you, Sandy mentions all the time, Sandy gave our president mentions all the time, is it'll switch back to Gmail when it can. So it's harder. It makes it, you have to go through more steps sometimes when you use a different email address. Tell me, Joanne Quijano, is that true in your case, or do you find that if you're using your SBC Global email, do you have any troubles using Gmail or Drive?
I don't use Gmail, so I
Okay.
just use the Google apps, and I haven't had any trouble with it trying
Okay.
to change.
Yeah, I've heard that from Sandy Gabe. I'm not sure. I don't use, I kind of, if I'm going to go into Google, I end up using this account more. And it's easier if somebody wants to share something with me, and I'll show in a minute how that's done. It just pops up because it's a Gmail account. But yeah, you can actually, when someone shares something with you, Joanne, my curiosity is if they share it to your SBC Global, or usually do you have to go through a second step? Do you have to request access, or do you get it right away?
I get it right away.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, and I just see, I have a list of shared with me, and I
Yeah, so you get the
Uh-huh.
email that says it's been shared with you and you're able to access it. Okay, because in my case, that doesn't always happen that way. Now, do you have a Gmail account at all? Maybe that's why. Because I think it's smart enough to know when somebody has a Gmail account. And I believe it ends up trying to, it wants you to request, do you really want that to share with that email address? I'm just guesstimating there that that's true, but okay. If you have more than one account, can you merge the accounts? That's beyond my pay grade. I don't know. So maybe Joanne, can you come on and state a little bit about more what you're trying to do?
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Am I coming through? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you and I can see you.
Well, when I first started with Google, I got kind of confused because I was working with different groups. And so I ended up having one group for this account, one group for that account. And so I have like 3 different accounts. And I've gone in to try to see if I could merge them or if I could get rid of one and transfer everything over. And I'm concerned that it says I'm going to lose everything if I try to get rid of some Google accounts. So I kind of gave up.
Well, when you say accounts, are you talking about Gmail addresses?
2
Like
are
this?
Gmail, 2 are Gmail, and 1 is AOL.
Okay. I would think if you're concerned, what they're trying to warn you of is that you're going to lose any email that you have associated with those email addresses. You're going to lose, if you just delete them, that's what's going to happen. If you want to merge, what you're calling merge, if you want everything, for example, if I have another Gmail account, that Tustin Young Marines, let's call that one. And let's say I want to get rid of that Tustin Young Marines account, because that's 2 accounts and I have more than that. And I want it all to be under this one. What I would be concerned about is all the email that is coming to the other account it's going to be an account that's no longer active. The
Okay.
second thing I'd worry about is any files that have been shared with that account that have not been shared with this account.
Ah,
I
okay.
think that's
Right.
another issue.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
what you'd have to do, unless I'd Google what you want to do personally and see if we're not the first ones trying to do it. So
Right,
I would start with Google and say, okay, I want to do this. How is the easiest way to do it? Or is it not a good
Right.
idea?
okay.
Secondly, Yeah, I would worry about the files. And if you do want to go through all that, you'd have to go, okay, to all the files that you've got that you want to have access to from the old account that you're trying to get rid of. Request access to the new email address.
Mm,
And that might be cumbersome, and maybe there's a better way, of doing that. But
yeah,
I don't know if you really need to do that because I don't know, I guess it depends on how often you're using them and how much information is. You can actually put everything in a folder,
mm,
perhaps, and move the folder.
mhm,
So there are other ways, but
Right.
yeah, it's something we can talk about. If you want to dig into that next time or another time. Am I writing it down? Because I can see how that would happen. But for now, I want to move forward if it's okay. And I want to talk about one more thing in this area and then get into Google Docs a little bit more, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, as far as sharing, we talked about that. Let's go to my drive. This is all my stuff that I've saved. This is where I landed when I first came here to Google Drive, because under this account. And if I want to see, the only reason I can see all these things is either I created the folder, I uploaded the document. I'll show you a second how to do that. I've placed all these things here. The owner is me. If I go to shared with me, you'll see other people own these and they've shared with me. Okay, so if I go back to my drive real quick and I say, let's see if there's anything here. Okay, this is my resume and I'm going to share it with, I want to share it with somebody. Okay, this is my resume. It's private to me and I can manage the access. It's a Word document and actually yeah, it's still a Word document because it's a W. And it gives me more information. If I want to manage the access and give it access to Randa, I click on that. And right now, the only person that has access is me. And it's restricted. Only people with access can open with the link. So I can copy this link all I want and send it to somebody, but they won't be able to look at my document because I haven't provided access. If I change this and say anyone with the link, then if I send the link out, anybody can look at my document as a viewer. If I change this, they can comment on my document. If I change this, they can edit it. So you have complete control over the documents you put out here. That it can be just like on your Windows Explorer, it can be completely yours. And if that's the case, then you would say, go back to restricted and leave it this way and have yourself only in this list. If I want to give access to someone else, let's say I want to give access to Randa, and I don't want to use that address, I want to use this address. Okay. And I want her to be able to edit the heck out of it. And I'm going to notify her that I gave her access, and I'm going to give her a message too. And I'm going to say, hey, don't mess up everything, but you can edit my resume. Still only say good things. Then I send it to her. It's going to send her an email to that address and tell her that I've given her access and she'll get a link and she'll be able to go into my resume and edit as though she were me. Or I can also copy the link. It goes to my clipboard. And again, as long as I send this and give her access of any kind, any kind here, then she will be the only other one that can look or view or edit my document. So that's the security that you have. This is a document that I uploaded myself, which is why I only have access myself. When I say upload, if you've got a document on your hard drive that you want to put into Google because you're ready to share it with somebody, or this is where you want to store your information, you click on new. And you can either upload a folder or a file. I usually use file. It puts me into my Windows Explorer. And I'm going to, I did that this morning. I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna open this, and it's gonna put it in my folder. If you notice down at the bottom here, it's uploading this item. And it added it right here. That's as simple as that. And it's a PDF still. It was PDF on my folder, on my drive. Sorry, my Windows Explorer, my hard drive. And it should have the same access that the resume had because I didn't allow anybody just yet. And that's another place where the Google groups come in. So if I wanted to share this with all of you, which I think I will, Julika, what's the name of this tech group?
Comtech peer group.
Dash or?
I think there might be a space. Yeah, no, go ahead. If you try that and see.
See, it's not popping up. So let me see if I can get heck. Nope. So
It's COMM dash tech dash peer.
Okay, that's it.
group.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
there it is. Okay, so I'm going to let everybody have this. There's probably no reason to edit it. So I'm going to say as viewer. It's going to notify everyone in this group. And I'm going to say this is from the, what did they call it?
yeah, Tracy,
Yes,
it's com-tech-peer at AAUW-CA.
Oh. Yeah, okay. It's not Gmail. Okay, good point. So I'm going to get rid of this in a sec. Let's see.
Yeah.
Google Workspace training site. Okay, so I have the wrong one. So I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, Tracy, I think it does not include the word group.
Right.
Oh,
This is
okay.
I
Tech
have
peer.
it as
Yeah.
com-tech-peer at aw.ca.org.
Mhm.
Would you like me to do
Oh.
that again?
That's what got it.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So it says viewers of this file can see comments and suggestions, but you can only view. Actually, I'll let you, let's just do viewing for right now. And it's gonna send you all an email. And in there will be a link to that document, this document, which is what I'm gonna go over next. So let me send that. And you can tell me if you get it or not, or if you get it.
I got it.
All right,
Tracy, I have
so
a quick question.
yes,
When
Ally.
you're sharing and not putting in everybody's email addresses, but copying the link and just sending it out as an email, why, when people log in to look at it, does it show up as anonymous and then it gives it an animal?
I've never seen that happen before. When I've gotten a link, it actually goes right in and it's like what I just did. I've never seen the incognito, I think is what you're talking about. Because I think maybe because I'm not giving you access directly to your email, I'm just providing the link. So you're not specifically defined as a user.
Gotcha, because like the ones you sent
Mhm.
out, it's saying we have to request access based on our email address. And when you send out just the link, it doesn't do that.
Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
do both. Let's do the next, do what you described. Oops.
I just got the whole thing that you said.
So you were able to get in without requesting
PDF.
access? Yes.
And
Okay.
mine's asking me to get permission.
Yeah, I got it.
Interesting. Do you have a Gmail account?
Yep.
Which account do you have affiliated with this tech peer group?
Uh,
Ally? Is it Yahoo or?
Hmm.
That could be why. If it was a Gmail account, perhaps you wouldn't have that second step.
gotcha.
That's what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to change this to say anyone who has the link that's down in here, the general access,
Mhm.
is going to be able to view.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to copy the link.
Yep.
It's in my clipboard. And I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to use my regular email because that's what I do. And I'm going to say, click. Let's say Google. And I'm going to paste the link in here. And I'm going to send it to all of you. Should be the same result. But I'm curious what you get, Ally.
You're gonna go, what?
I'm curious
I
what you
got
get, Ally.
I got the last one and I just clicked on the thing to get to the Google document and it opened right
Worked
up.
fine. Okay. And you have your Gmail address as part of the tech peer group? You remember?
Me?
Yes.
I don't
But
have.
you're
a
not
Gmail.
you don't have Gmail.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I
It's-
don't
Anyway.
have my Gmail on the tech peer group either.
And yours went straight there.
Yeah, it
Okay.
came as a PDF and I clicked on it and it opened, but I haven't gotten the second one yet.
Yeah. So we could spin our wheels on that, but yeah, there's something about that. And I'm not sure what it is. I haven't narrowed down exactly, but when you're talking about using other email addresses with Google, any of these products, and when you're sharing, I know that I've encountered where I have to ask for a request specifically for my SBC Global, and I do have Gmail accounts. So I think it has something to do with that, whether you have both, and it's wanting to make sure you want access to your non-Gmail account. Google is very interested in giving you access to your Gmail. It wants you to stay Google. So sometimes it makes, my thoughts are, it makes it a little more cumbersome for you to be able to do things in your non-Gmail or non-Google account. But I don't have a definitive answer for that, unfortunately. So, okay, before it's 6:55, I can't believe that. We didn't dig into docs much at all, or we didn't get into docs at all. Is there anything more on Drive while we're here? That people have a question about, that you guys have a question about. Let me go back to chat.
I
Tracy?
did have the question about moving a folder from a drive to a different Google Drive.
Mhm.
To explain what's going on, when I was communications chair for the branch, I established a Google account that was free, that had the 15 gigabytes storage, whatever it was. And I recommended, as I was leaving, I was also paying separately for a domain name so that we could have use the domain for our email system. And I recommended that my successor should get us a nonprofit Gmail account so
Mhm.
that we would have the domain name in the Gmail like AUW California does. And Tracy just showed how that was working with the two different accounts that she was sending something to. I've never gotten access to that other account, but I'd like to move the archive that I created in the Gmail account that I set up and move it over to the one that the branch is now paying for.
Mhm.
And before I completely give up being involved with the branch and their communication system. And I've never gotten the password to get into that other account. Do I need to
Mhm.
have the password to get? I don't even know what the other account is. But I imagine I need to have a password to get into that other account.
Yeah,
the
and it
branch-
sounds like you'll need to work with whoever does have access, because you definitely need access. You can't do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and what And when you talk about archive, it's a folder that you have?
Oh, it's the entire branch history that I was able to collect, because in various ways our branch archives have disappeared. So what I've created online in the Gmail, in the
Yeah.
Google Drive, is the branch archive.
Okay. So what I would, and you don't know who, well, do you know anybody from that branch currently so I would work with somebody in the branch. Say, okay, this is what I have. It's out on Google Drive. And I think it'd be a matter of you sharing that with them, with whoever has access to that other drive. And then
So
they'd have that. And then if they have access to your archive, then I think they could
grab my stuff and put it in their archive.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all these are great questions, and it's like that's why we have a group here. So if there's a better way, or somebody else experienced it something else, then definitely bring it up and share it with everybody. That's what we're here for. Unfortunately, I didn't get to Google Docs at all. What I will say is Google Docs is the Word equivalent in Google Workspace. What I will also say in a general sense is it's not as robust, in my opinion, as Word is. So in general, I will create something that's going to have outlining and formatting and all sorts of things. I'll do that in Word because there's more, in my opinion, better functionality in Word. And then I will upload it to Google Docs. And you can do that, you can keep doing that. You don't have to work in Google Docs once you put, like, let's say my resume it's still in Word. I can bring it up in Google Docs and not share it or not save it in Google Docs. And so it remains a Word document or vice versa. But I like to work in Word. I think it has more functionality than Google Docs does. That's just my opinion. If anybody else has any other experience, then let me know.
Well, Tracy, what you sent
yes.
us, I got, and so did, I suppose, most people. And then it asked what you wanted to open it with, which I chose Google Docs. And so it wasn't a PDF, and then it opened to Google Docs, and then you could talk about what you're saying, and how to deal with Google Docs.
Interesting. It asks you because it was PDF. And then there is a conversion that happens.
I got it in a PDF, and then it said, would you like it converted to a Google Doc? And I said, yes. So then you can actually do that thing where the pencil is, and you can make suggestions, or you can edit, or you can read it.
Interesting. So yeah, again, Google wanted to take over, if you will, and make it, a Google document instead of keeping it a PDF. I think because when I never said I said you could edit it, or I don't recall. No, I said you could view it. So it's interesting. It allowed you to change that. It allowed you to basically copy the PDF into a Google Doc format. So you're not editing the PDF. You're editing the Google Doc or commenting on the Google Doc. And then you're going to move forward with that. You have to be careful on that because you have to, realize that you're not editing the PDF that everybody sees. You're editing your Google Doc because you've allowed them to copy it into a Google Doc and not load it as a PDF. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, in a sense, I've taken it over and I can create anything that I want to out of it now.
But I don't believe you're sharing that with everybody. The only thing that's
You're
sharing.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
But I could share it now.
Correct. After you've done that.
I've edited it.
Absolutely. So that's kind of a cool feature, as long as you understand what you're doing and you know that that's a copy of it. Right. And that you're not if I shared the a Google Doc with you or a Word document with you, and I said allowed you to edit it, everyone would be able to see your edits because I shared that same document with everybody. If you chose to make a copy of it, you can make a copy of it, which is what I would get into if we talked to Google Docs. And So you have to kind of be aware of what you're doing and what version you're looking at. What you're being shared, and you don't change anything, you don't change the word, the title of it, and you just go ahead and edit, and I've given you editing ability, then everybody can see your edits, everyone can see your comments, which is usually the intent. If you wanted to make a copy of it, you can. And that way that copy will be on your Google Drive. And you can do whatever you like. And then if you're wanting to make changes and see what it looks like, and then you go, oh, I really like that, you can then again share that, and it'll be shared as a different name. So you have that ability within this environment to do that. I want to get into that further. I think unless anybody has a strong objection or has something else they want to talk about other than future sessions of this tech group, future topics, next session, I want to get into Google Docs more. And actually let me know if you come back with some further questions in the meantime. If you play around with Drive a bit more and you want to have questions on that, and I'll try to address those at the beginning of the session, if that's okay with everybody. Because we
Tracy,
didn't get that far. Yes, ma'am.
everybody has a name except me. What did I do wrong? I mean, I have an acronym. That is not my name, but everybody else has a first and last name. So where did that come from?
Are you talking about in Zoom here, or are you talking about?
Yeah, in Zooming with you, you'll see that I'm listed as Bonnie Gal.
Yeah, if you go, that's your screen name. If you go down to that in your window or wherever your name is.
Actually go to my name, my window.
Hover over it. You know where it says Bonnie Gale?
Yeah, hover over that.
Just right click.
Yeah. Oh, right click.
Give you the option of renaming.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can make yourself any name.
That's too simple. Yeah, I just thought I'd use a regular name.
Well, somewhere along the line that got set.
Yeah. All right.
I'm saying if you use rename here, it'll change it for this session. It doesn't really change it for everywhere all the time. So keep that in mind. It might show up again, but.
Okay. Thank you.
So anytime you're in Zoom, you can do that. All right. Sorry, I have to go. But again, next week or not next week, next month, we'll start out with Google Docs. Any latent questions on Google Drive that you haven't sent to me already that we haven't, figured out or whatever, we'll start there, and then be prepared also to ask for whatever you want to talk about next year. What topics that you have that you want to know more about, and then we'll start putting together a calendar for next year. Okay.
Great.
Is that good for everyone?
They just put a
hour went by
question
really
into chat, Tracy. You might
Okay.
want to download the chat. And don't
Yeah,
forget
it
to
happens
volunteer.
automatically.
Who wants my job?
Yeah. I'm sure we have a ton of people saying, please, please. All right, I'm going to turn off the recording now.